A billion-dollar CEO, a Coldplay concert, and a viral video that exposed far more than anyone expected. In a world where every moment can be captured, shared, and dissected by millions, one awkward reaction was all it took to blow up a secret affair, tear apart families, and send shockwaves through the tech industry. But what really happened in that crowd of thousands? And how did a private scandal become a public crisis that just won't go away? It started quietly, just a standard crowd shot during Coldplay's concert in Boston, the kind of moment that usually disappears after a few seconds. Except this time it didn't. The camera found two people. Their body language froze. They didn't smile, they didn't wave, they panicked. And within hours, the internet had figured out exactly who they were. Andy Byron, CEO of Astronomer, a $1.2 billion AI company. And the woman beside him, his head of HR. Both married, but not to each other. The video exploded. 50 million views in under a day. Memes, commentary, and full-blown internet sleuthing followed. But the fallout wasn't just viral, it was deeply personal. Byron's wife Megan was one of the first to respond, silently but powerfully. She deleted her social media accounts. Then she dropped his last name from her profile entirely. It wasn't a press release, it wasn't a dramatic statement, but it said more than enough. She was done. Screenshots of the couple at the concert flooded social feeds, and some took it even further, messaging Megan directly. People she didn't know were tagging her, posting the video on her timeline, and sending images of her husband with another woman. That's not exposure, that's digital ambush. While millions gawked and commented, a family's private pain was unfolding in real time under the harshest spotlight imaginable. But this wasn't just a personal scandal. It immediately became a professional one. Because when the person caught in the affair is the CEO, and the person he's caught with is head of HR, things get complicated fast. HR departments are supposed to protect employees, enforce fair policies, and investigate misconduct. But how do you investigate the CEO when you're also dating him? Within hours, the HR director disappeared from the company's website, just gone. That move alone suggested that internal damage control was already in motion. PR crisis teams were likely scrambling to draft statements, prepping for media inquiries, and coordinating legal reviews. And inside the company, you can bet employees were asking hard questions. Who knew what? Was this happening on company time? Did promotions or decisions get influenced by favoritism? The trust between employees and leadership took a massive hit, and it may not recover. This kind of scandal isn't just gossip. It raises real concerns about power dynamics, favoritism, and professional integrity. In most companies, HR is the buffer between staff and executive abuse. If that wall collapses, how can any employee feel protected, especially in a billion-dollar startup where people depend on leadership to set the tone? When HR and the CEO are a couple, secretly, it's not just poor judgment. It can fundamentally erode the company culture and open the door for lawsuits, resignations, and a PR disaster that no spin doctor can fix.
And here's the thing. This isn't Andy Byron's first run-in with controversy. According to a report from The Information, this same CEO has been accused of toxic leadership in the past. Former employees said Byron had a habit of lashing out at anyone who disagreed with him, even threatening to fire dissenters. One employee said plainly, "You could not challenge him." The article detailed a culture of fear, manipulation, and control, with insiders claiming that top positions were filled by loyalists, not by merit. In fact, when people started leaving the company due to Byron's management style, they weren't replaced through normal hiring channels. Instead, Byron's chief revenue officer reportedly brought in people from his former company, a move that raised eyebrows inside and outside Astronomer. Byron denies all of this, of course. But once a pattern starts forming, it's hard for the public and investors to look away.
And in this case, it's not just what happened, it's how it was revealed. A single glance, a moment of hesitation, that's all it took. Had they reacted differently, smiled, clapped, waved to the camera, this moment may have passed without incident. But their nervous, deer-in-the-headlights expression told the crowd everything it needed to know. The internet pounced. And when a scandal goes viral, there's no going back. Then there's the social media backlash, fast, harsh, and often out of control. Viewers didn't just comment, they dug into Byron's past, messaged his family, and built entire narratives based on a 10-second clip. This wasn't just exposure, it was mass judgment. And whether you think it was deserved or not, the speed and intensity of the fallout raises real questions about how scandals are handled in the digital age. Where's the line between public accountability and personal invasion?
One story from 404 Media even raised a darker question. What happens when facial recognition, social media, and real-time tracking all collide? Could this kind of exposure happen to anyone? Are private lives really private when every camera is a potential scandal generator? In Byron's case, it's clear his own choices brought this on, but the way it escalated shows how vulnerable anyone is in the age of instant virality. And let's not forget the actual human cost. 2 families, 2 marriages, possibly children involved. None of them chose this. None of them asked for their lives to be dissected on Twitter or pulled into YouTube comment threads. And yet, they became unwilling characters in a story that's still unfolding. Forget the embarrassment. The heartbreak is the real damage. The trust broken behind closed doors is now being debated by millions of strangers. So, what does this all mean? For Astronomer, it's a leadership crisis with no easy fix. For employees, it's a loss of trust in both their boss and the person who was supposed to protect them. For Andy Byron, it's another chapter in a growing list of accusations. And for everyone watching, it's a cautionary tale about power, secrecy, and how quickly everything can fall apart when your private choices become public record. But the real question isn't just what happened, it's why it hit so hard. Maybe it's because we've seen scandals like this before. Maybe it's because the mix of money, betrayal, and tech power always makes headlines. Or maybe it's because deep down, everyone understands how fast life can change in a single moment. One camera, one wrong look, one silent second, and suddenly, the truth isn't hidden anymore.